So that's the fourth characteristic of his religion, and now a fifth. Jefferson's religion was monotheistic and Jesus-centered. He revered Jesus Christ as a moral exemplar. He thought Jesus had been wrong on some points, but he believed his teachings embodied the most sublime system of morals in the whole world. In a letter written from Monticello, Jefferson praised, quote, the innocence of Jesus' character, the purity and sublimity of his moral precepts, the eloquence of his inculcations, the beauty of the apologues in which he conveys them, that I so admire, end quote. It's not surprising that Jefferson saw Jesus through a deistic lens. He thought the teachings of Jesus could pretty well be summed up in 3 points. First, there's only one God, and he's all perfect. Second, there's a future state of rewards and punishments. And third, to love God with all thy heart and thy neighbor as thyself is the sum of religion. And as most of you know, Jefferson, who read the Bible often before bed, edited the 4 Gospels to form a well-known book on the life and morals of Jesus. He didn't write about anyone else, it was just Jesus. But like most deists, Jefferson believed that nothing unreasonable could be true, for God is the God of reason, not of irrationality. And so he removed from the 4 Gospels everything that he thought a pious embellishment. And this meant that he removed the miracle stories using scissors and razors, the virgin birth, the resurrection, and so on. And now the 6th and 7th characteristic. 6th, his religion was restorationistic. He sought to find and to restore primitive Christianity. Jefferson believed that after Jesus' death, what he called corruptors had gained control of the Christian church and distorted Jesus' message. Among the corruptors he named were Platonic philosophy, Paul the Apostle, Athanasius, Augustine, medieval popes, John Calvin, and others. To the corruptions of Christianity I am indeed opposed, Jefferson asserted in a letter, but not to the general precepts of Jesus himself. I am a Christian, in the only sense in which I believe Jesus wished anyone to be. I am sincerely attached to his doctrines in preference to all others, ascribing to him every human excellence and believing he never claimed any other. End quote. If people could just discover what Jesus actually thought, Jefferson thought, rather than what later distortion said he taught, then Jefferson believed they might be saved from infidelity and create a more moral world. Finally, Jefferson was anti-Trinitarian. Arius, Servetus, and Socinus, figures with whom he was familiar, were supernaturalists. Theologically, they were to the right of Jefferson, because they believed in precisely the biblical miracles that he denied. For Socinus, for example, God's voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased," is a sign of Jesus' adoption into the Godhead. So too is his ascension. But Jefferson stands as one with these 3 Unitarian fathers in their opposition to the Trinity. He calls the doctrine Greek arithmetic. He speaks of, quote, the Platonic mysticism that 3 are 1 and 1 is 3, end quote. He deplores, quote, the fanatic Athanasius, who imposed upon Christianity the hocus-pocus phantasm of a god like another Cerberus, with 1 body and 3 heads, end quote. And Jefferson once wrote to a Unitarian minister that, quote, the religion of Jesus is founded on the unity of God, end quote. So opposed was Jefferson to the doctrine of the Trinity, in fact, that he would not stand Godfather at Anglican and Episcopal baptisms in Virginia. Because as you and I know from the film Godfather Part 1, a godfather has to be a pious fellow who will speak for a baby and declare that the child, could it only speak, would affirm certain Christian doctrines, including that of the Trinity. And Jefferson was not about to impose that doctrine on any American child.